Welcome to the 10-year anniversary of It's So Easy, Series 1900. When in doubt, you can transform any sewing project with the right accessories or embellishments. We'll also be featuring some behind-the-scenes interviews with our featured designers as you learn more about them and how sewing transformed their life. We begin with Wrap It Up. Angela Wolf begins this season's sew-along with the versatile wrap dress and all of its variations. Then Gretchen Hirsch is back. She was our first guest on our first episode 10 years ago. Join her for an update on that very first circle skirt, adding buttonholes and a wraparound sash. Then meet Reen Wilcoxon for our first designer spotlight and learn a little bit more about how she made sewing, and in particular embroidery, her career. We can't believe we've been sewing with you for 10 years. Oh, 1901, Wrap It Up.
Hi, I'm Angela Wolf, online instructor and fashion designer, and in this season, it's all about the wrap. Wrap dresses, but don't worry, if you don't wear dresses, this could also be wrap tops. So I'm gonna start with just a basic one. This one here, I'm gonna show you how to sew the little slit in the side, the belt wraps around, very cute, easy to do. So let's talk about fit for a moment. The big thing with wrap dresses is quite often, this might gap or this pulls too tight. Don't worry, throughout the season, I'm gonna help you out with this. So let's take a look at the pattern. This is a basic pattern just for a simple wrap dress where I could have the belt going through the side, or I could have the belt attached to the front, which you'll see in the next episode. So for this one, I've already cut my pattern out, I've cut out all my pieces. The first thing you wanna do is be sure to mark your darts. And how I do that, this is the bust dart, and this is the waist dart. Depending on your shape, you might have a bigger dart or smaller. You're gonna fit it to yourself. But I wanted to give you just a couple tips for this. So when I transfer this over, now I'm just using a muslin fabric for this one. I'm gonna make these dots a little darker, and you can see how these translate to this dart here and this here. The other thing I do is I give myself two little snips here, and I'll put a marker there so you can see that. And I'll show you how to sew those. But before that, what about your fabric? For a wrap dress, there are so many different things you could pick out, but for this one, it's very simple. I chose a rayon fabric. See all my pieces cut out already? It really doesn't have any stretch, but it's very lightweight, loose. I've already pre-washed my fabric and dried it, so it won't shrink when I'm finished, and I'm ready to start sewing. So for the darts, I gave myself these two little notches right here. And I'm just going to pick up the fabric and give it a little tug here. I will match up these two notches. The one thing you want to be careful of, and this is so important, if you go, you never know if your fabric slid a little bit while you cut it out. You want to match these up, but if these go like this and you have a twist in your dart, like this, stop. Start over. It's more important for this dart to line up and this to be completely flat than it is to make sure that these two match up, because it might have gotten twisted. So that's my first tip. The next one is when it comes to the bust dart, I like to start right at the tip. You can go either way. You can start at the other end and go to the smaller end. Put the needle down right close to the edge. And depending on your fabric, now this dress behind me has a lot of print on it, so you're not gonna notice if the dart had a little bit of a error in it, I should say, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set it up to a straight stitch with the needle in the center position. Just lift that up. Now, I can either just do a lock stitch, which puts it in place, two little stitches, or I could change the stitch length to very narrow, like a 1.0, and start stitching. And what that does is that stitch is so tight that you don't have to worry about back stitching. When you back stitch at the tip of a dart, it makes it very thick. Your seam, very thick. And then I'm just gonna stitch forward and get to this end, and here I will back stitch. bring that up. Looks like I caught my fabric just a little bit, but I think you got the idea. So this is my bust dart. And now, because I did those little stitches, see how the tip, there's no gapping. I will press that in the down position, and let me show you this dart here. Now this is a shorter version of the dress behind me. I'm gonna take this part here, give it a little tug, and fold this over. If this mark and this mark don't match up perfectly, it doesn't matter. It's about getting these two, and then let's sew the dart again. Starting with a lower stitch, put the needle in a down position right on the edge of the fabric, start stitching, and then go back up to your regular stitch.